welcome to Breakfast with Dr. J. I hope you've had a fantastic week, and I wonder what's happened in your world. We'll wait for a few people to pop on and we'll have a cup of coffee and have a little, maybe chew the thin, so to speak, before we get into a very important topic for today. As I said, it's only a shorty, but it's going to be a goodie. So if you do pop on, please say good morning. Pop your name in the comments, because I'm on the computer. I can't see the stuff on the phone. All right. So isn't this magnificent weather here in Sydney, Australia? Oh, I wonder what your neck of the woods been like. As we go into spring and we go into summer and autumn all around the world, it's a change of seasons is always good. And we've had a pretty good winter here. Now we're going to go into the summer months. So springtime is always good. And we call them the hay months. And if we have hay months in the springtime, this is when we actually can really kick some goals for our business and or for ourselves personally. So what I want to cover today, and I'll have a sip of my cuppa in a moment, is why time and motion reviews are so essential, especially now. So I'm going to give you some ideas of what to do and why they're important and how to actually do them. A lot of people don't do them and they just keep on doing the same old, same old. So I'll cover 4 separate points for you and see if you can put them into practice. And if you're a business owner, strongly recommend that you do them every 6 months. If you're an employee, I suggest you actually do a little bit of review of yourself. What are you doing with your time? Good morning, Pele. How you going, my friend? Hope things are good in Queensland. Well, for those of you that have joined me, grab your cuppa. I love my cuppa on a Saturday morning, as most of you know. We'll get cracking on today's topic. For those who are going to watch on replay, this is some action points to do today. Time and motion is what we actually get paid for, as you pay yourself, or it helps you have a scorecard. A lot of people don't actually treat them with let's say, with the respect they're due. I strongly recommend that everybody looks at the time you're spending and the motion or the activity that it's creating. When you're an employee, the time you're spending has to have a value, has to be something that is valuable to the business. And if you're taking you're very quick at doing things, that's great, as long as it's done efficiently. And in your job description, there's all those things that you're supposed to do and your tasks and your KPIs and all those things that are important. But unless we review the time it's spent doing those things and the activity or the motion that's creating, in other words, outcomes, sometimes it just goes unnoticed. And then if things start to drop off, or let's say customer care drops off, or let's say sales get lower, we go say, well, what's going on? And then we go into a big flap. So time and motion reviews, I believe, are as important, if not more important, than doing let's say, an individual review of somebody. Now, some people say, oh, we do that in there, but that's not the same. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to explain a little bit to you. What are they? Well, what they are is a list of tasks that you do that are from your job description. You get your tasks and the jobs, or whatever you like to call them. Not the outcomes, but actually the tasks, the things that you're going to do, and you write them down. And what you then do is you want to make sure you're going to ask the question on how many hours are you spending on doing those jobs or those tasks. It could be preparation, it could be delivering, it could be invoicing, it could be sales, it could be sales calls. And you actually write down the amount of time you're spending on that, and it goes per day, per week, per month, and sometimes things might be done quarterly. And you might say, well, gee, I don't know. Well, you usually give it at the beginning of the week and get someone to actually fill it in throughout the week and then actually put it in. But it should be historical, ideally. Now, it's really important because it actually goes hand in hand with your job description. Now, job descriptions change as businesses evolve. We have other tasks that we do, and all of a sudden, lots of things that may be on your job spec are no longer important, and you're doing other jobs, or you may be doing those as well. This is really good for an owner or a business, let's say CEO, or even an individual to say, where am I spending my time? Is it getting the outcomes that the business need? Do we really need to do those things anymore? Or can we outsource them? And can I spend my time doing things that are more valuable? It is critical that it's reviewed, because what doesn't get reviewed can't be altered. We get stuck into the certitude of, I've always done it this way. Now, especially in the last, 8 months, 12 months, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have gone online. A lot of things have been outsourced. And have the job specs changed? Well, I would say not. And are you spending more time doing other things than you were doing things that were being done 6 months ago? So the reason why T&M, we call it, is so important. And it is because there's an evolution in business and there's an evolution in task. It evolves. It never stays the same. You've got to learn new crafts. You've got to upskill. But we need to find out if it's taking a long time to do something. It might be an old computer program. You say, wow, you're taking 7 hours to do that in a week. My goodness gracious. Let's fix it for you. Yes, because things need to maybe be upgraded. Now, effectiveness and efficiency is the key element here. It's an element that we say, well, what am I spending the time on? And we're spending copious amounts of time on a task that should be done quickly. Or maybe that person is so valuable that it should be outsourced, because you could spend that time doing something that's more valuable, has a higher ROI for the business. Effectiveness, are you doing it well? Maybe you need training. Maybe it's not your cup of tea. It needs to be pulled out of the job spec and given to somebody else. But if you don't know how much time is being spent every day, every week, every month, every quarter on that activity and task, and don't measure the results, what's going to happen? Poor outcomes, low productivity, and maybe boredom or frustration. See, there's lots of connotations here. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is making sure that the reason we do them is so you can make changes. If you're seeing someone is spending very little time on a certain thing, it's almost become redundant, you can get rid of it and replace it. You can make changes. As I said earlier, you might have a computer program that's really slow. And we've got to change it. Maybe your internet speed, it's taking so long because the internet speed's so slow, so you might need to change it. But if you don't know how long it takes, now you might look at the outcome and be disappointed, but if it's taking a long time, either the person needs to be trained, it's not a job they like to do, they become tardy, there's been low inspection. Doing a staff review is not going to actually look at a time and motion. Now, if you include it, terrific, but from my experience, not many people do. The next thing I want to make sure that we understand, it's a word that we've been using for a lot now, it's called pivoting. The reason we need to do a time and motion study, and I can actually wave the flag for us, there's lots of things that we do differently now. We need to make sure that our team have different skills. We need to outsource some things and get our team to do different things. So we're able to pivot and use the expertise that we have under our roof to do things that are incredibly valuable, and then get other people who are much more skilled to do those things that we don't know how to do. So we use the time effectively. So it allows you to pivot. And there's some jobs now, because of COVID and how the world has changed, that no longer are necessary. We found that. So what have you found that you don't do anymore, or you don't need to do? And it's not even in your job spec. Maybe you don't do that and you've got a stack of time up your sleeve. Do you know that person isn't doing those things anymore, and they've got lots of time that you're paying for, but are not being utilized because you haven't given them a job? It's not their fault. Now, if you need to, when you find out that you found what time and motion studying, the reason why you need to do it, you need to decide, do we need to change? Do we need to replace? Do we need to outsource? This is a really important part of where I'm coming with this. Now, the consequence of this, if you do this well, if you do this well, it will revolutionize your business, and it really gives a new lease of life to a lot of your team. Some people are a little bit resonant of doing them because they say, oh, gee whiz, I'm going to get trouble. No, it's not a stick waving thing. It's saying, how can we get better? Now, our next part of this is understanding, well, when it comes down to time and motion studies, what happens if you don't review these? What happens? Well, let me make it very clear. Firstly, there's no transparency in what's happening in your business. You don't know what people are doing. If you don't know what they're doing, from my experience from CEOs and general managers, if they don't know what they're doing and there's maybe poor results, they say they're not doing anything. And that's not the case. But they might not be proficient. They might have got lazy. They maybe need their axe sharpened. Bit of training. So many businesses just leave the team to do what they've always done, and they'll think they'll get what they always got. Well, that's not true. If you're not upgrading and sharpening the axe on an ongoing basis and going back to basics and then making the pivots that are necessary in a changing environment, then guess what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. So we want to make sure that we do a really good job in understanding what's happening. There's transparency. If you don't do it, you're not going to pivot. So you don't know what needs to be changed. And more importantly, you need to find out if the team member is doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Now, this is not the case in most of the time, but hey, sometimes things are just not getting done and the person's working for a certain number of hours and you're not getting an ROI for that. So sometimes that's, well, not sometimes, that's good to know. I hope this is resonating with you. Give me a thumbs up and so forth, because a lot of people don't talk about this. And I can assure you, when we bring it to the forefront and they do the inspection, it doesn't take long. It makes a world of difference to their business and to them personally. All right, my last point for today. How do you do them? Well, if you don't know how to do them, this is all a whole lot of noise. So it's pretty easy. What you do is you get your job description, all the tasks that you do. And then you'll write down all the things that are supposed to be done, and you're going to add the things that you know that have been added. There's new things that have been added because there's other things that might have drifted off. So you just put a list down one side. Pretty easy, hey? Next thing is, and absolutely right, Pele, success disciplines. This is spot on the money, mate. You have the list of all the jobs or tasks or whatever you want to get done. Then you just have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a week. And then you have a column for the month. And then you might have a column for the quarter. There are some jobs that only get done for a few hours every month or for a few hours every quarter. I do suggest you have Monday right through to Sunday, because some people do work weekends or whatever the case may be. And all you do is you say, right, I'd like you to write down how many hours you spend doing these jobs that are on your job description. And if there's anything that you do that is not in the list, please add it. Now, if you've got someone doing a job that should take 1 hour, but they're writing down 6 hours, you've got to ask the question, why is it taking so long? Opportunity to pivot or change. Training. So, the whole essence here is to measure how many hours are spent doing certain tasks. Now, the result of the tasks is irrelevant at this point of time. Time and motion is just saying, what are you doing for the time that you're spending, whether it's 37.5, whether it's 40 hours a week, whatever it is. And you want to say, well, sometimes you might see that someone's spending copious amount of time doing something that should be done in a very short period of time. That's a skills challenge. And you might find that some things that need to be done aren't being done at all. So, T&M, time and motion. In summary, firstly, you now know what a time and motion study is. Secondly, the review is done because we want to make sure there's transparency. We can pivot, make changes accordingly. Now, you all have to review what happens when we don't do them. There's complacency sets in. People start doing things that they maybe shouldn't be doing, and we could outsource. You might not know what needs to change. Also, or you might have someone doing or spending a lot of time on a certain task, which should only take a few hours. Training or upgrade the system, or maybe it's something that they shouldn't be doing. How do you do it? Well, I've just shown you. List a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a month column, and a quarterly column. So, time and motion. Suggest you write out your list on the weekend and do one for yourself. Now, on yourself. If you're an owner or a manager, you can get your team members to do it. Probably give it at the beginning of the week and get it by Thursday or Friday. Gives them just a little bit of time to memorize what they've done. But do it for yourself. You might be surprised. You might find some time. You might say, gee whiz, I don't want to do that anymore. Outsource it. Or you might find there's some stuff that you should be doing that you're not. All right, gang. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. As I said, it was a shorty but a goodie. T&M is not talked about. Everyone talks about other things. The good old T&M is not talked about because it's been forgotten. There's so many people whinging, complaining about what they're doing and getting poor results, and they don't do T&Ms. So I thought it would be valuable for you to be able to put that into play. If you'd like to have a little bit more information, I've got a couple of templates if you'd like. Be happy to share them with you. And I'll put our newest sales guide in the comments or in the copy, so you can download it. It's an absolute cracker. All right, gang. So I haven't had any questions, so I will sign off for today. I'm just going to have a sip of my cuppa. Hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you on during the week in the Sales Success Club. And kick some goals. Oh, I'm going out to dinner with one of our Sales Authority Club guys tonight with good old Boris. Actually hit a massive business milestone. So a big shout out to Boris. Absolutely outstanding and continuing this week on your merry way. All right, gang, I'm Dr. J, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.